Dave Pelman, it's been a while. Thank you so much for carving out some time with us today. You are a composer and you are involved in music and the film industry with your company, Pelman Music and Sounds. Can you explain to us what you do and what it's like, or what your first reaction was with COVID-19?
Yeah. So yeah, I am a media composer and plus the owner of and operator of Pelman Music and Sound. I do various things from, scoring uh, shows, animation projects. I'm currently doing an animation production for YouTube called Clashorama. And when I'm not doing other custom music projects, my library, it's music and sound design. I'm licensing it to other television shows, films, YouTube productions. We do a lot of work with theatrical marketing, so trailers, TV spots, radio spots. And that keeps me pretty busy. So when one thing is happening, another thing's happening in the background. It keeps me on my toes. Um, that had, it COVID when it came on, we definitely felt a halting happen, over time. It wasn't immediate because a lot of what was in production at the time, whether it was a TV show or there was a film, there was a lot of stuff, productions that were still, finishing or in the pipeline that didn't really require people showing up to sets. And when those things got buttoned up, I think everybody in the industry started to feel the big slowdown. Everyone from actors, directors, producers, people that just couldn't control the situation because of the isolation uh, call that was in effect for people, to not show up to work. Um, so yeah, it's been an interesting moment in, the industry and learning how to deal with this, how to, stay busy if you're at the mercy of productions that, rely on people showing up to sets. Fortunately for me, I've been able to stay busy and, it's allowed me to work on areas of the industry of of my daily routine that perhaps I put off to the side. So in that way, it was I was able to stay productive. But you know, in reaching out with my colleagues, I'm certainly not the only one dealing with this. I mean, there's a lot of other folks in the industry that were much worse off than folks like me, especially the independent contractor people and the gig industry people who all of a sudden just found themselves without any work at all.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, because you have a son who's in which grade?
He's in the fourth grade right now.
So, what percentage of the kids at school have parents involved in the industry?
A lot, especially in the part of town that we're in right now. I would say half of the school is probably half the parents in our school are do something in the entertainment industry. And I just know from all of the school emails when you look at the when the addresses, it'll say it'll have the studio name in the email. Um, but yeah, they've the feeling that we get from whenever we have a chance to interact with parents from our school or just feedback from email updates from the school, it paints the picture that everybody is having a rough time, and folks are just dealing with it in their own the best way possible that with at their disposal. Some people, just it seems it's interesting, some of the more affluent in the community, have the resources to get away and go to their place, their cabins in Mammoth, or we hear folks in New York, retreating to their mansions in the Hamptons or whatever. They're, I guess, of the fortunate few that can just sort of make this issue a little bit more invisible than others can. But for us, we're here. We're operating at home. We're branching out into our village when we need to go get groceries and stuff. And it's interesting to see the degree of how various different people in the community are dealing with this issue. Every weekend I see people strolling in groups, and they've got their dogs on leashes. Nobody's wearing masks, and I think the early heat waves that we've had, the warm weather, has really affected people to the degree of, well, I'm tired of this. I want to get out and enjoy the sun, go to the beach, go ride my bike and beach cruisers down the street or whatever. And I think that other people see that, and the attitude, if they share the same frustrated attitude. I'm tired of this already. I want to get back outside. I want to go back to work. I want to do all those things that I used to do. And so it's amazing how it seems this particular community where we are found it so easy to forget the seriousness of what COVID is.
Do you think animation is just going to come to the forefront for the next while?
I think, yeah, it's interesting because I'm seeing stuff in the trades, and I'm paying attention to kind of what's showing up in the streaming studios. I think they're going to embrace animation a little bit more, and perhaps they're going to even embrace CGI a little bit more, and take advantage of the fact that they can actually create productions without having people there at the studio. I think we're also going to see a lot of stuff repurposed, perhaps, so they're going to find finished productions and reintroduce them or repurpose them somehow, or maybe go back and work on stuff that perhaps didn't get released and re-release that. But they're going to do whatever they can, in the meantime, to stay afloat, to keep releasing new shows, to keep their audiences engaged. So in that respect, I get a little bit of I feel a little bit of assurance, because whatever it might be, if it's stuff that finished before COVID and actors don't need to show up anymore, or it's more animation, they're still going to need music from companies like me. They're still going to need whether it's pre-existing music or composed music, for the production itself or for advertising. So in that regard, I think a lot of folks in the industry, my colleagues feel that that's probably the case. I've seen how companies and service arms in the industry can pull together and keep some kind of flow of production happening, and for example, like a lot of the trailer shops, the houses that produce trailers in Los Angeles, it didn't take them very long to set up a remote version of their company where their employees are at home working, accessing all the resources that they need in order to keep their clients' needs, met. So I think, if anything at all, it's really helped in terms of streamlining workflows and showing how whomever you are, you're able to adapt quickly.
A block away from my house is a local theater that was built in the 1930s, and the owner of that can't keep it afloat. But what he's doing is individual filmings with families, because it's such a small venue. But that's not going to That he's lucky. I think he owns the property, and I'm
what
trying to
theater's
figure
that?
out. Pardon me?
What theater is that?
Dunbar Theater.
That's the Dunbar, right?
Yeah, and
I remember.
I just think about LA and what's going through people's mind if it lasts longer than a year. What do you think?
I think it was probably middle of February or early March when, you know, the stay at home orders were just about to happen. The studios were already pushing back films. Like the Bond film was supposed to come out this summer. Now I think it's pushed till November. Now we're, you know, getting a little closer to November and nobody's feeling anywhere, you know, especially the California phase plan to back to normal again. I don't know when movie theaters are really supposed to fit into to what stage. I think it was one of the later stages, because right now they're only opening, and it's only curbside, you know, sporting goods, most restaurants, department stores, just curbside pickup only. And then the second stage is they're going to lessen a little bit more in, you know, I don't know how they're going to allow people to, you know, to get out there and at risk of being in close proximity with folks. You know, I mean, forget Staples Center and forget, you know, Dodger Stadium and stuff. It's just, you know, so a movie theater where everybody's sitting like literally right next to each other. I can't see that happening anytime soon. And that, you know, that is a big weight, you know, on the studios right now. But perhaps they're figuring out a model where, you know, what was supposed to be released as the summer blockbusters or the fall slate of movies and Christmas movies, maybe those are going to go straight to streamers.
Yeah, that's
straight to Apple, straight to Disney. Yeah,
because you've got such a captive audience.
Yeah,
they're not doing anything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, Disney Plus, it's Netflix, it's Hulu, you know, Amazon, you know, Stars. I mean, they're going to be this. Yeah, these are going to be the new, you know, exhibitors of all of the new releases.
Dave, what's the silver lining in all of this for you? Is there one?
Silver lining right now. Well, you know, I'm always a positive guy. You know, I just think everything works out for the better, as difficult as things might see directly in front of you. I don't think we're going to go back to what was, you know, normal before. I think you know, in the grand scheme of things, I think there's a reason why we're going through all of this right now. You know, a good friend of mine, Len Brody, wrote a book called The Great Rewrite, and everyone should read it, including myself. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, but we've chatted about it, and I have a feeling that this is kind of is part and parcel of what he was talking about. But I like to call this moment as the Great Reset.
Me too.
And you know, and I think it's giving us a chance to sort of see how things were so sensitive and delicate, and you take out, you know, one card of the house of cards and everything comes toppling down. You've got folks that were, you know, living from paycheck to paycheck and what was supposed to be a strong economy, but apparently that wasn't so. So it's revealing to us that, you know, there were flaws in, especially here in the States, where, you know, the great American dream wasn't, I guess, so great if it meant that, you know, a whole community of folks that were depending on that paycheck, their whole worlds collapsed because, you know, it was gone. They were out of work, and millions of people filing for unemployment. So I think, you know, hopefully we draw from all of this and there's something better for us to come back to, so that this never happens again, or maybe this initiates a way for things to be different and a little more self-sustaining.